Hi everyone, I'm Donna Stellhorn, your practical astrologer, and today we are talking about the new moon. It's on August 22nd. It's at 0 degrees of Virgo, and this new moon makes an inconjunct to Pluto, an inconjunct to Saturn, an inconjunct to Neptune, and a square to Uranus. And so all of that can help you feel inspired, but also very distracted. And so let's talk about a strategy that you can win with this energy. So this new moon forms a yod with Pluto on one side and Saturn and Neptune on the other side. And a yod is a configuration of two inconjuncts with a sextile. And the sextile is the secret sauce for making a yod work. And that is the sextile between Pluto and Saturn and Neptune. And so in very practical terms, what this means is that you're going to want to take something apart and then discard the broken pieces or change something and then put it back together in a new way. So right now, the solution to whatever problem you're trying to solve, whether that is with a decision, a routine, something about your work or a relationship, comes when you disassemble either how you got to this place or the building blocks that you use to say these are absolutes that have to happen to make this happen. When you take all of that apart and you lay it out in front of you, it becomes obvious what part is not working and you have a breakthrough. Now, all of that's pretty straightforward, but there is a problem with this chart, and that is the square to Uranus. And so with this square to the new moon, it's like there's something on the corner of your eye, and it's jumping up and down trying to get your attention. And so there's some sort of distraction. And that because it's a square, that's a fight. A fight is a situation where you could win or you could lose. And the thing that is at stake is your attention. So, but I'm going to tell you how to win with this energy, and that is because Uranus makes a trine to Pluto and a sextile to Saturn and Neptune. So when that little jumping thing starts to distract you, turn and give it your full attention and ask yourself, why is this thing trying to get my attention? What is compelling me to watch this video or listen to this podcast or talk to this person? Or how does this relate to what I am working on at this moment? You see, this new moon could give you vital information on the problem that you're working on, and it could come from some out-of-the-way source and that you would normally call a distraction that actually turns out to be the answer. And if you would like to know more about what's ahead for you in 2025 and 2026, I do readings. There's a link in the description. Okay, Pisces, this new moon in Virgo at 0 degrees could bring you somebody new into your life that becomes a mentor, becomes a close friend, becomes someone who's a business partner or instrumental in your life. And so it's really necessary right now to try to go out and meet new people and connect to new people. This new moon also could bring you something that gives you a sense of justice happened. Like if something was wronged in your life, maybe you get an apology, maybe you get some sort of restitution. This also could bring you some sort of balance in your life where maybe you've been working too much and so now you get some time off, or you've had a little too much time off and now you need to get back to work, and so there could be some sort of balance happening. Now, when it comes to love relationships, specifically new love, the moon's making an inconjunct with Neptune, which it's such a strong relationship chart for you, but the inconjunct means that the person you could meet them in circumstances you weren't expecting. And so this is like you go to the laundromat because you have some big items to do, and there you meet the person, and it's like you weren't ready. You feel like, or they live kind of far from you, and so they're great, but it's a really long drive. Or you work together, and you're not supposed to date somebody at work. Like there's something that you say, it's not quite perfect, but that's okay, because that kind of thing can pull two people together with that kind of shared story of this is the thing that we had to overcome to make this work, and that makes the relationship stronger. Now, when it comes to existing love relationships, even though Mercury's not making an aspect with Neptune, the new moon is there, and so this really does indicate that the two of you in your your current relationship could come together and say, let's have a new beginning. Let's start a new tradition. Let's do something together that we've never done before so that we have to depend on each other. So there's something new happening in your relationship, and this could make the relationship stronger and better. Now, when it comes to your money, you pull money from Mars, which is traveling through your area of passive income, investment income, royalties, residuals, that sort of thing. And this might be the time to start to think very, very in a focused manner about how to create passive income sources. Even if those things are just a trickle at the beginning, there's something that could, over time, with compound interest, really grow. And so sometimes we're so focused on saving money or making money, and that's not the same as investing money. And so this could be a time where maybe you are investing in a business, or you are really looking at your general investments and seeing if you're diversified, if you're in a position where you can maximize your returns without doing too much risk. Now, when it comes to money from business or from investments, even though Venus is not making an aspect with Mars, Mars is in Libra, and that is ruled by that Venus, so you have a hidden aspect, and you're going to have it for a little while yet. And so that is that you can find a way that, the customer says, oh, I don't know if this is going to work. You keep talking to them and you find a way. When your broker says, okay, we need to get you into these investments, but it's challenging, you're gonna find a way. So it's persistence, and it is focus, and when you do, you find a way. Now, when it comes to money derived from career, so that would be a paycheck, Mars is not making an aspect with Saturn. And Mars is in that area more about perks and benefits from a job versus actual money. So that's really what to look for during this 2-week period is to get like a better office situation, or to get a personal assistant to help you out with whatever tasks you need to do, or to get a better computer monitor. Looking at those sort of things and asking, because you've got such good relationship energy where you could connect with your boss, but maybe your boss can't actually open up the coffers to give you more money. It's possible that the boss could give you some perks or some other benefits that really, make up for the extra that you've been putting in. Okay, in the third section of this video, I have a couple of announcements, and then we're going to continue talking about finding the hidden money in your chart. So we are approaching September, and September this year is eclipse season, and eclipses are what cause people's lives to change. So this year, I'm giving a Zoom class on what this eclipse is all about. And so if you would like to know how it could affect your life and what eclipses mean in general, consider doing this class. This class is also going to be recorded if the time doesn't work out exactly for your schedule. And so there is a link in the description to register for this class. And then I wanted to let you know that the next New Month Wishes class is going to be on September 1st. There is a link to that class, to register for that class, in the description. And then all members of this channel get special access to deep dive astrology videos, feng shui videos, and also they get a playlist of the tutorials that we are doing in the third sections. So if you want to become a member, that join button is right by the subscribe button. So let's continue our discussion about finding the hidden money in your chart. And by the way, there is a video course on this topic. There's a link in the description. So last time we talked about the different money houses. I thought we would shift gears a little bit this time and talk about some of the planets. And specifically, I want to talk about Pluto, Jupiter, and the Sun. And so when Pluto and Jupiter are coming together and they are talking to one another, then you have ambition. When the Sun and Jupiter come together and talk to one another, then you have confidence. And when all three of these come together, you are unstoppable. Now, there are different ways that planets can talk to each other. There can be communication happening in your natal chart, through your progressions, through transits, or through a derivative chart. But let's just first start with how planets do talk to each other, and that is through aspects. And so think of yourself at, say, a large party, and you can talk to people who are around you. But if you know someone well, you can actually communicate with that person clear across the room because you know each other. So through your gestures or facial expressions, you can get the message across. So that's what an aspect is. That's the two planets. They know each other, and so they are communicating with each other. And that means they can help each other or hinder each other, as the case may be. Now, planets talk to each other through degrees. That is the number with the little circle by it. The little circle means degrees. Now, in a natal chart, I give a 7-degree orb. Some astrologers do more, some astrologers do less. I find that 7 degrees works a lot. It works really, really well. And so that means that if you have a planet at, say, 15 degrees, that every planet in your chart that is between 8 degrees and 22 degrees is talking to that 15-degree planet. Now, they are all making different aspects depending on signs, but we're not going to think about that right now. We're just going to know that they are talking with each other. Now, there's 30 degrees in each sign, and there's 12 signs, and we number these degrees from 0 to 29. So if you had a planet at 0 degrees, it's talking to every planet in your chart that is from 0 to 7 degrees, but also going backwards, it talks to every planet that is from 23 degrees to 29 degrees. That section of planets, those planets are called an out of sign aspect, which I'm sure you've heard me mention on this channel before. And that is still an aspect. It's just a little harder to spot sometimes. So what are you looking for? Well, if Pluto is talking to your Jupiter, you have access to ambition. If Jupiter is talking to your Sun, you have access to confidence. And if Pluto and Jupiter are talking to your Sun, then you can become unstoppable. And for those of you who know some astrology, consider transits with a 1-degree orb, consider progress charts with a 1-degree orb, or consider derivative charts such as return charts with a 7-degree orb. And if you want to know for sure if you have these aspects in your chart, I can send you a PDF of your chart. Just send me a note, there's a link in the description, and add to your message that you want to know about Pluto and Jupiter. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video. By the way, I do a weekly illustrated newsletter, and so if you like astrology and you love black cats, you're going to love this newsletter. The link is in the description, and I'll see you in the next video.